this new PowerPoint presentation, we're going to be talking about the subcutaneous tissue or layer, which can also be called the hypodermis, and we're going to be covering the structures and the functions of this layer. The hypodermis, or again, subcutaneous layer, is deep to the dermis, and it's made up of connective tissue, which is not going to be part of the skin. Remember that the skin is only made up of the epidermis and the dermis. So the hypodermis is not part of the skin, but it is part of the integumentary system. In some areas, it's going to be a thin layer that's going to be comprised of loose connective tissue. That's called the areolar connective tissue. Fibers that extend from the dermis, they're going to anchor the skin to the subcutaneous layer, which in turn is going to attach to the underlying fascia, which is the connective tissue that surrounds the muscles and the bones. So the subcutaneous layer is going to serve as an attachment point between the connective tissue with the bones or the muscles. As you can see from this image, the subcutaneous layer is going to serve as a storage depot for fat, as we can see this large amount of fat tissue. And it's also going to contain large blood vessels that will supply and drain the capillaries of the skin. As you can imagine, the amount of fat that's going to be deposited in this subcutaneous region is going to vary greatly among different individuals. So a lean person could have a very thin layer with minimal fat deposits, while an obese individual could have a layer of fat 4 to 6 inches thick. Like some areas of the dermis, the subcutaneous layer also contains these encapsulated nerve endings, but in this case, it's called the laminated corpuscle, as you can see one right over here on this image, that are going to be sensitive to pressure. So the further down you go, instead of feeling touch, like the masonry corpuscle or the tactile corpuscle that we see right over here in the papillary region of the dermis, you're going to feel pressure. Another name for laminated corpuscle is Pacinian corpuscle. The subcutaneous layer will have multiple functions that are listed here. It functions as this loose binding tissue that's going to unite the upper layers of the skin to the deeper structures, while at the same time it will allow the skin to move freely over these deeper structures. In certain regions, such as the skin of the soles and palms, the subcutaneous layer is going to form this tough fat pad, which is composed of fibrous bands of collagen and adipose tissue, which will serve to absorb the shock and also protect underlying muscle and bone. As noted previously, the subcutaneous layer is also the principal site of energy storage in the body. Adipose tissue is going to be an active metabolic tissue with numerous nerve endings and also a rich vascular network that we talked already about that will help to regulate and also mobilize the energy stores. Finally, the subcutaneous layer will serve as a layer of insulation that helps to delay the heat loss in the body.